Number 10, Girl from the Trees. When I was 10, I went in the woods behind my house. This was a normal thing for me to do. I knew those woods like the back of my hand. There's a small creek back there about 1 mile back. I was playing in this little creek when I heard something. It sounded like someone laughed. As I looked up, I saw two boys. I hid behind a tree not to be seen by that boy. Would pick on me every chance that they got. I sat there waiting for them to leave so I can go home. Then I heard it again. A laugh. The boys stopped playing. There was a girl that came out of nowhere. She asked if they wanted to play. I followed them, keeping my distance. I have never seen this girl. They walked between two fallen trees that seemed to make a triangle. Just as they walked through them, I lost sight of them. I hurried to catch up to them. I walked behind the trees. As soon as I did, I fell. I fell into some kind of pit, landing with the other boys. Fog everywhere, could barely see. Normally, I would have been put in a headlock and teased, but they were just standing there. We all were confused as we saw the woods, and this was not here. I was scared. We started walking up. The walls of dirt were high, nothing but dirt. The boys, one crying, one yelling. The laughing started again. The girl appeared at the top of the wall. She said, "Now you will play." We all took off in different directions, but always ended up in the same spot. The girl would disappear and reappear in different places. Terrified, running into the same spot over and over. We all were crying, like an endless loop of walls, fog so thick you could just cut it with a knife. The laughing got louder. We all ended up stopping. The girl was standing just ahead of us. Her body contorted like breaking bones. She was no longer a girl. Now she took the body almost human. The girl was a woman, skin missing from her body. She dripped wet with black water. She let out a scream that chilled you to your bones. She turned and ran towards us. We all ran, but no matter how long we ran, she was always right behind us. In the same endless walls of dirt, one of the boys fell. Me and the other boy did not stop. We could hear him screaming. We stopped. She was gone. She came into sight fast, running at us. We started digging into the dirt, making pockets to climb out. She stopped at the bottom as we had made it halfway up out of reach. Then she started laughing. We kept climbing. I thought I was next as the other boy was just reaching the top. The woman vanished. I froze in fear. The boy screamed. She grabbed him as they fell from the top down. Her body mounted on top of them as they hit the ground. She opened her mouth and started eating a flesh from him. I started climbing faster, reaching the edge as I heard the screams. I ran back between the two trees. The laughing started again. She was behind me. I crossed the water as fast as I could. She let out a screaming, distorted voice. "Not fair, not fair, not fair." The water seemed to scare her. She wouldn't pass it. She took the form of the girl again, begging me to come play. I took off and running. Back home, telling my mom what I saw. She called the police. I told them everything. None but loved me. But the search happened for days. They have never found the boy's body. I know what I saw that day. I worked up the courage to go back a few years later. I was a man now, standing at the edge of the water. I heard the laughing. The girl and the boys were standing behind the trees. They were the same age as they were when it happened. "Do you want to play with me?" I turned and went back home, never going back. Number 9, the new mother. There were two girls named Turkey and Blue Eyes, and their mom and baby brother. They loved their mother so much and helped so much too. They went for a walk and saw the usually old man with his dog and a lady with her daughter. When they were coming back from the town, they saw a girl with this drum. But it wasn't just any drum. When she played the drum, two dolls would jump out, one boy and one girl. So Blue Eyes asked if they can have it. No, you can't. You are not worthy, the girl said. But why? What can we do to get it? Turkey said. You had to do something bad. Very bad. The girl said. Oh, we can do that, both girls said. So the two girls go home, and they do not finish their food and didn't wash their dishes. The next day, they went back to the girl, and they told the stuff they did. Oh, that's nothing. You need to do worse, the girl said. We can do that. Blue Eyes said they went back home and ripped all of the pillows. The mother was sad. She said, if you don't stop, I will leave. And a new mother came with glass eyes and a wooden tail. They went back to the girl, and they said what they said. Still not good enough. Guess you can't do it, the girl said. We can! Just watch, Turkey said. And the two girls left. And when they got back home, they messed up the house so much. The mother cried, and she said, one day I will leave you if you don't stop, and a new mother will come with glass eyes and a wooden tail. The girls hugged their mother. The girls went back, and the girl did not have the drum. Where is the drum? Both girls said. It's gone. We're moving, the girl said. But we did what you said, Turkey said. You did, and now the new mother's coming with glass eyes and a wooden tail. The girls ran home, and their mom and baby brother was gone, so they went to town, no sign. So they went back home and they saw the new mother. Now Turkey and Blue Eyes look for their mother, so they don't have to stay with the new mother. Number 8. I think my mom was killed by the voice she heard. Now I'm hearing it too. Growing up in a small town meant everyone knew everything about everyone. Rumors would fly, whisper between the whips of bored, housebound old grannies and their frustrated grown children. The majority of the town was religious and attended a weekly seminar, followed by gossiping at the local diner about someone's daughter throwing herself around while away at college. My family was a common topic along the white-haired population. For years, I heard whispers over my shoulder while out about how my mom was crazy, how she saw things, how my father was an abusive drunk. The last part was true. My father was verbally, physically, and emotionally abusive. The majority of the blows he dealt were aimed at my mother, but sometimes, when I was feeling brave, I would force my way in and end up knocked on the floor, bleeding from the nose. Aside from the rumors, people were usually pretty nice to me and my mom in town. I had friends, hobbies, overall a normal life outside of my father's drunken, angry outbursts. Only thing other off about my life was sometimes waking up in the middle of the night to hear my mom talking with someone. When I could find a sneak peek around her door, I wouldn't find anyone in the room with her. One morning, over cereal, I asked her who she was always talking to. Just a friend, honey, she responded, much more surprised. Mom, I said tentatively, I never see anyone. She pretended not to hear me, and we went on with our morning as the discussion never happened. Sometimes I would hear doors slamming while home alone or things falling. Then one night, at about the age of 16, I woke up to whispers in my room. Just like your mother, I heard in a voice that passed through the room like a gentle breeze. What? I slurred, waking with a start. My eyes scanned the dark room, but I couldn't see anything out of the ordinary. Thinking it was probably put on my sleeping brain. Went back to sleep. At the age of 20, my dad passed away from liver failure. I was still living with my mom, never having felt comfortable leaving her alone with my dad. There were no tears shed between me or my mom, or hardly a gathering at the funeral. Even though everyone in town knew what an abusive ass my father was, rumors soon spread after his death that my mom was having an affair towards the end of his life. She ignored those, and I watched as my mom seemed to blossom at their death. Her ears with sunken eyes and frizzy hair was soon replaced with lively eyes and a face made up face of makeup. For the first time in my life, I was watching my mom truly live. And even though she was very beautiful, I never saw her go on a date and had no idea where the rumor came from that she had been having an affair. I was out with my mom grocery shopping one day when Deborah, one of my least favorite baddie old woman, approached. "You're looking beautiful, Phoebe," she said to my mom. "What are you dressing up for lately?" My mom had been having a good morning, but what had been a smile on her face was now replaced by a frown. "Thank you, Deborah. Excuse me." She swirled her cart around the plump old lady and continued down the aisle without another word. I watched my mom in surprise at her exit, but quickly turned to Deborah. "Fucking no one, Deborah," pointed before hurrying after my mom. If my mom had heard what I'd been saying, she would have scolded me, but she was already down the aisle, and I doubted Deborah would be telling her what I said. Rumors continued to circle and die out as they usually do. Another weird night occurred not too long after that incident. I woke to my mom's angry tone coming from the kitchen. Hearing her this late reminded me of my childhood and those times I caught her talking to herself. It seemed like it had been a while since I heard her do this, so I quietly made my way to the kitchen and get to the shadows, curious if I would actually see anything this time. But it was just her. "I am not yours," she nearly shouted to the empty kitchen. "This has to stop. I want a life." There was a pause. Then, "Anna, what are you doing out of bed?" I was surprised by her sudden attention on me. How the hell did she know I was there? It was so dark, and I hadn't made a noise. I coughed, coming out of the shadows. "I was thirsty." "What are you doing, Mom?" "Nothing, sweetie," she replied dismissively. "Just going back to bed now." A week later, I found my mom lifeless in her bed, her wrists slit and dried blood pooled around her. I have no idea what happened. Mom was not suicidal. She had been thriving, and now, just myself in the house, I keep hearing whispers. Number 7. My mom, for sure, regretted going on this date. Back in the mid-late 80s, just before my mom and dad had met, my mom was working at a mall in Plymouth, Wisconsin, where she grew up. Nothing about the mall was sketchy or wrong, but it was not the nostalgia-filled malls you see on TV today. It was a normal mall. One day she met a man. This man was charming, good-looking, and seemed friendly enough, so she was surprised when he asked her out on a date. The date to her was normal enough, but she didn't see anything special happening, and she just didn't feel right about it. Needless to say, she did not give him a second chance on a date. Life went on. My mom met my dad. They got married, so on and so forth. Well, in the early 90s, I don't remember specifically what year, she was pregnant with my oldest sibling. And she was watching the news one day while waiting for my dad to get home from work when she noticed something odd about this man they had arrested. She had realized it was the man that she went on a date with years prior. The man in question was called Jeffrey Dahmer, who had been serial killing and eating several boys and men during the time of their meeting. I'm sure this bothered her at the time, but ever since I heard the story, my brother's mom and I all joke about it. Even though it may not be an appropriate thing to joke about, I don't think either of them back then thought the relationship would go any further. But I don't like to think about how much danger she could have possibly been in had she dated him long term. Number 6, 12:33. 12:33, and I'm awoken with fear, or what sounds like I'm awake. My chest is being squeezed so tight, no air can come out. There's an eerie silence that fills my room. My eyes keep gravitating to the dark shadowed corner as if I'm being hypnotized to only stare in that direction. My body unable to move, my voice unable to speak or just make a noise. My eyes can see my husband is asleep next to me. Quick thinking tells me if I just move my hand or foot, maybe I can wake him up. He's out of reach. He's right there. Why can't I reach him? My eyes still fixated on the corner, as if I watched it turn different shades of black and gray. Something's watching me. Something's watching me. Something's watching me. I say to myself over and over again. My whole body gets hot. My head just gets super dizzy. The sound of my heart is thumping louder and louder. I lay paralyzed in pure terror, just staring into that corner. wondering why I'm unable to lift even a finger or scream. I don't want to be here laying in this bed terrified. I need him to wake up and help me out of this, whatever it is. Somewhere between the racing thoughts, clammy hands, heavy chest, and panic, I must have blacked out. When I woke up the next morning, I went straight into the kitchen to tell my husband what happened, as if it all like such a bad dream. He's normally sitting at the kitchen table with coffee, waiting for me, but the table is empty. I turned to the kids and asked, "Did Daddy leave for work already?" They looked up to me confused and said, "Mommy, Daddy died, remember?" Number 5. It was blood on the window. He woke up to the sound of footsteps in the hallway. He thought it was his older brother since he usually came home late from work. But these footsteps didn't seem like his. He checked the time. 3:33. He checked his window and froze at what he saw. The word hello smeared across the flat surface with a red liquid. The red liquid dripped onto the rug. He touched the liquid, the smell of dirty flesh, blood, and fresh. He froze. He thought this was just some huge prank he was in. Suddenly, the footsteps began to get louder, each step becoming more and more ear-piercing. He jumped into his closet, into a corner. He could hear the noise start to get faster. It stopped. Everything froze. He froze. He heard the doorknob slowly creak its way to the left as the light started to peek its way through the cracks of the door. He kept his leg close to the body and his arms to his chest. Something was on the move. He heard one creak of the floorboards and a rough noise coming from the doorway. The light slowly disappeared as the thing blocked the light from coming into the closet. He looked through the tiny holes of the closet. He could see bloody legs through the holes. The thing made a noise that shattered his ears. He didn't breathe. He stopped and thought that thing opened his door and he would pretend to be dead. He waited. All the sound stopped. After waiting for what seemed like forever, he peered into the hole. That thing was gone. He slowly creaked open the closet door. It was gone. He walked out of the closet and looked around. Nothing was there. He was about to check the other rooms when he saw something on the window. There was no longer a hello on the wall. "I see you" was written in blood across the window. He stepped back in fear and hit something behind him. He slowly turned his head, and before he could see what he was looking at, he was knocked out. He was then never heard from again. A couple days later, it is reported that his brother went missing. Number 4. Shadow of my grandfather. My grandfather from my father's side was very strict when he met him. We were young and he wanted us to be disciplined and be great at mathematics. He is from China, migrated there. He only spoke Chinese and we don't quite understand. I had an accident. I dropped the plate accidentally and it was broke. He got a long stick and hit my hand so I could be a good girl, which at that time I was the naughtiest amongst us sisters. I do all pranks and going crazily active. I would go everywhere and I wanted to play. It was 1 year past after our visit, and my parents heard a devastating news that my grandfather passed away. We sisters didn't know about the news, and my father was waiting for us to finish school so I can go to the funeral in the province. I woke up at night and I could not move my body, only my eyes. Then I saw my grandfather's figure sitting in the bed of my elder sister. He was looking at her, and I was looking at him paralyzed. I wanted to wake up so bad, but I couldn't move. I prayed until I woke up to get ready for school. I told my father at the time I wasn't sure that was grandfather. I described him as an old man. He told me that her grandfather passed away 3 days ago. I was shocked. I knew that my grandfather's favorite grandchild was my elder sister. Well, she is the brightest among us, and she was the firstborn. Number 3. Please do not take a weird memory stick from your mailbox. It was morning, and I was going to check the mailbox. There were bills, junk, and other stuff as usual. But then I found something odd. There was a memory stick in the back of the mailbox. Odd. I thought, but I didn't throw it away. No, I kept it and even tried it on my laptop. Now this is where it started. I downloaded it, but didn't want to open. So I thought maybe it was broken. So I wanted to close the laptop and go to school. But when I tried to close it, it showed me this weird message on the screen. It said, "Hey, why are you leaving? Please stop." I didn't bother to read that, so I closed it and tried again. Then it showed another message, a more weird one. I said, "Stop!" I was starting to freak out, so I tried to restart. Nothing happened. No restart. No nothing. So I thought maybe that file had a virus, so I decided to open the folder where the file was. But the file was changed. The name, the looks, and everything else. I tried again to open it, but I was so terrified this time. It opened, but the antivirus blocked it. I unblocked it and saw an empty folder with only a video named "I'm at your window." I looked at the clock and I was running late. I forcefully closed my laptop, went to school. When I got home, I remember about the video, so I clicked on it. What I saw scared me for life. There was a recording with me up from the window to my bedroom. That was this morning. I thought, scared. I listened to the audio, and it seemed to be a person breathing. But then it started chanting in a whisper. I tried to make the words clearer and was shocked when I heard them. Do you want to know what that person whispered? It whispered, "I'm at your window, tormented, soulless." A handwritten note on the table. A bluish smile. Why? Rest in peace. I'm at your window. I couldn't sleep that night. In the next 3 weeks, I had nightmares that seemed so real until I heard the news. My twin sister was killed in her sleep. I stood there in shock. How? Why? I thought as I fell on the floor of my room. I wish that could have been a dream, but it wasn't, and I knew it was my fault. Number 2, I woke up in a forest from hell. The gray fog faded along with the bitter metallic taste in my mouth. Coughing, I leaned up and opened my eyes. A cloudless, yet bleak sky. A near uniform gray cut through the canopy of pine and gnarled oaks, casting a gloom over the brushy, clay-covered forest floor. Nausea washed through me as I inhaled deep, expecting the sweet scent of evergreen, instead sucking me in the sour tang of rotting fruit mixed with some type of cleaning chemical. The place freaking terrified me. Lush, green foliage blossomed with white along the pale red ground, while mossy vines crawled up the towering trees that were thick with age. A shiver ran up my back and I grew clammy, realizing there was no natural sounds no one would associate with being deep inside of a forest. No animals, no cracking branches, no leaves blowing on the ground. The stale breeze did little to steer the heavy air. Where the freak am I? I said softly and louder. Hello? A light shock stood all the hairs on my neck, and a unmistakable feeling of being watched flooded over me. My heart jumped as a twig snapped behind me, and I froze with a deep, irrational fear. Leaves rustled, and several footsteps were taken. A cold hand grabbed my shoulder, and I was shoved down to the ground. My eyes went wide as I drew face to face with a gray-haired man wearing a long pepper beard. A bony finger was held to his cracked lips. The decrepit form creaked as he shook to his head and stood, then pointed to the darkening sky. Goosebumps covered me as my brain raced to figure out the silent man's meaning. I furrowed my brow and looked up. The sky was turning an eerie, deep blue as I stared. A thought fitted just on the edge of consciousness. I knew what the trees, sky, and ground were. I knew that I was in a forest. I could feel the old man's intent to help me. The fact that I had this innate awareness of things around me, but couldn't remember crap about who I was, greatly distressed me. The anxiety grew as the seconds ticked by, and I continued staring at it. My heart sank. Where are all the stars? I finally mouthed. I didn't question the feeling of loss that suddenly filled me. I just stared up. Not a single dim constellation could be seen. No stars and no moon. Still, the sky had a curious glow. Soft crunching from the left drew my attention back. The man had turned around and was heading down a well-worn path. I knew that was going by him was by far my best option. Besides, there's something decidedly unnerving about the dark forest that made even the company of an odd man a welcoming comfort. I felt no ill intent from him, and it was obvious he knew more than I did as to what the heck was going on. As I got to my feet and stumbled down the path, I noticed that besides a pair of brown, loose-fitting shorts, I was naked. Not even a pair of shoes I afforded because of this. The nimble old man, a few paces ahead, wore a patchwork of similar cloth roughly sewn into a shirt. His grubby shorts were worn. A brief flash from above caught my attention, and the small hope of catching a glimpse of the moon was dashed just as quick as the flash in the darkened sky. Another stronger shock sent my hair to end once again, and I knew something else was watching me. I quickly lost track of how far I quietly followed the man down the winding path and out of the forest. The sky, still void of anything, had long since settled into a soft glow, cast in and out sparsely treed landscape of rolling outcroppings in a light bluish hue. The further we went, the more frantic the man became, and the more he looked up, each just taut glance was a cold, spiky reminder that something else was out here. The fact I had yet to hear or see any hints of nature was equally stressing. By the time we finally stopped at the base of the particularly hilly area lined with trees, exhaustion had numbed most of my anxiety. My mouth was bone dry and I was freezing, leaning against one of the enormous slabs of cold rock that jutted from the hill. I watched a man approach a well-concealed, thatched covering of branches and leaves, looking skywards once more. He lifted it to the side to reveal a square opening that led to a long, sloping tunnel disappearing away. A small flicker of light played for somewhere around the corner. Not hesitating for a second, I grabbed the covering and stepped in after the man. In the distance, a breeze stirred the ground for the first time, kicking the leaves as it grew intensely and it quickly neared. A hand shot out and grabbed the concealment and pulled it tight. I looked at the old man as the breeze harmlessly hit the hill. The look on his face was that of sheer terror. We locked eyes for what felt like minutes before he let go and hobbled down the tunnel. I followed him around the bend to a wooden door with light shining through a small window at the top. I was not prepared for what was behind it. The room was large, with the solid stone walls and a wooden floor. An odd-looking lamp hanging from the center lit the room with a soft yellow. In the middle of the room was a metallic table and two other people sitting in metallic chairs. "What the freak is going on?" I croaked out. An older man, not as feeble as my silent guide, smiled at me from the far seat. It was my smile. My face, my body, yet older. I spun on the man I followed. Now in the light, his face was clear. My face, aged at least by 40 years, looked back at me with opaque eyes. I grew light-headed as then I noticed the other younger person at the table. They hadn't looked up yet, but I was sure as who it would be. It was what I saw in the back of his neck that finally pushed me over the edge. However, before all faded to black, I caught the distinct linked pattern of a barcode. Before we get to number one, I would like to thank you guys for sticking around for a while, and I hope that my content entertains you. My name is Austin, and I hope to be releasing more content very soon. Now on to number one. Number one, always and forever. Gerald, baby, is that you? Oh my gosh, you came back to me. I missed you so much. Gerald never used to believe in the supernatural, ghosts, or things of that nature. She scoffed at shows like Long Island Medium, calling people who watched them gullible. Gerald never used to believe in ghosts until her dead husband just appeared before her. "Oh, Gerald, I've been lost without you." Gerald and Gerald had been married for 5 years. Their life was seemingly perfect until that fateful day. On his way to Costco, a drunk driver rear-ended Gerald's car, causing him to crash into a tree. A seatbelt saved Gerald's life, but he was left paralyzed from the neck down. Countless surgeries and tens of thousands of dollars later, Gerald was back home. Gerald quit her job to take care of it full-time. Gerald's health and spirits seemed to be improving. 2 weeks ago, Gerald did not wake up. The medical examiner confirmed that Gerald passed peacefully in his sleep. Gerald was distraught and overcome with grief. Gerald had been her everything, and she had loved him with every fiber of her being. Gerald didn't know how she was going to continue her life without him. Oh, Gerald, you must have heard my cries and felt my pain, and you come back to comfort me. I love you so much. Gerald was speaking, but there wasn't any words coming out of his mouth. Try as hard as she may, Cheryl could not decipher what he was saying. No believer, Cheryl searched the internet for the highest paid psychic medium in her area. She found Madame Lassie. Madame Lassie came to Cheryl's apartment the next day. Madame Lassie, thank you for coming on such a short notice. I really appreciate it. Of course, my dear. Tell me, when did your husband start appearing to you? Yesterday. How long is it since you left this plane? 2 weeks ago. Okay. Have you ever heard anything I asked her? Yes, Madame Lassie. Let's begin. Cheryl and Madame Lassie set up the candles, dimmed the lights, and placed Gerald's favorite pint glass in between on the table. The glass would act as an anchor. Gerald, if you are there, please give us a sign. Baby, please, let us help you move on. The flames from the candle started to flicker as the temperature in the room began to drop. Cheryl and Madame Lassie can now see the breath turn into moist droplets. Cheryl, I can feel him. He's there. Gerald, please use my body as a conduit so you can say goodbye to your wife and move on to the next life. Madame Lassie started to shake, her eyes rolling back. The flames on all the candles extinguished and reignited. Madame Lassie stopped shaking and she stared directly at Cheryl. Cheryl, baby, is that you? Who the heck could it else be? Cheryl, dang. You know, I thought I'd kill myself, but I could finally escape you. But no, I have become a freaking ghost and stuck in this hellhole with you. Kill me. Gerald, what are you saying? They said you died peacefully in your sleep. Peacefully? I wish. I held my own breath until I died. Do you know how hard that was? How much dedication that took? Holy crap, it freaking hurt. Oh my gosh. Gerald, please stop. You're hurting my feelings. I love you so much. Your feelings? Screw your feelings. What about my feelings? You self-centered, nagging idiot. Stop it. Stop saying these hurtful things. You don't mean any of it. Yes, I do, Cheryl. I don't love you anymore. Haven't loved you in a long time. Then why didn't you say something? I tried, Cheryl. I really did. But every time I started talking about my feelings, you would just cry, try and make yourself everything about yourself. That's not true, Gerald. I'm not like that. I just love you so much. Everything was I with you. If you were so unhappy, why'd you stay? I was leaving you. I had enough. I was running away when that friggin' prick hit me from behind. I don't believe you. Cheryl, you're not dance. We don't even have a Costco membership. You're lying. You're not my Gerald. My Gerald will never say these hurtful things. Oh my gosh, you're unbelievable. You know what? Die. Gerald, Madame Lassie leaped across the table and clenched her hands around Cheryl's neck. They squeezed as hard as they can until they crushed her larynx. Satisfied, Gerald left Madame Lassie's body. Gerald, I know you still love me. Now we can be together. Always remember. You can't be that serious. Thanks for watching this video. Make sure to subscribe for more content like this. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.